brand new to the espresso market. This is the Linea Micra, basically a really tiny espresso machine for your house. This is not a review. This is actually going to be more of a first look deep dive. If you do want to review Lance Hedrick or Hans Ledrick right here, is also making a video, so you can pop down to his channel, link in the bio. We're here at Academia, which is basically a Willy Wonka style museum, but for La Marzocco coffee. So what is a micra? A micra is Italian. It's actually the feminine phrase of Italian for micro. So it is small, and it is quite smaller than its counterparts, though it being small does not mean it doesn't pack a punch. And I know what you're thinking, because it kind of looks very similar to the Mini, but it is not the Mini. It is not just a smaller version of the Mini. It has quite a few features that set it apart from everything else on that lineup. Most noticeably, one of the biggest changes I've seen is the Micra comes with a whole new portafilter design where you can detach and attach the spouts of your portafilter. So essentially you have a bottomless portafilter or a spouted portafilter, whichever one you want, whatever's your cup of tea. You can also do single spouts and double spouts. It's gonna come with both. So it makes a really cool click. It's actually really satisfying. You might be wondering, is this dangerous for tamping, and what is the longevity of this polymer? Well, I think that as long as you're not tamping directly on the forks, it's fine. And also this saves you so much money from having to go out and buy a bottomless portafilter. It does have a little bit of an angle there so that you can attach. Kind of makes it look very different than any portafilter I've seen before. And I'm actually really excited to get to use this a little bit more. I'm a little bit annoyed because I just spent $70 on a bottomless portafilter off Amazon, and now this exists. So thank you, La Marzocco. From what I've been told by La Marzocco, this polymer actually reduces the time it takes for the portafilter to heat up, and the fact that it's made of a polymer means it doesn't impact the heat of the shot nearly as much as a metal spouted portafilter. The Micra contains a dual boiler. We all know what that means, but if you don't, it means that you have two boilers, one for your steaming and one for your espresso, so you can do both at the same time. Pretty much a standard in La Marzocco machines. The brew boiler is 230 milliliters and the steam boiler is 1.6 liters, and it packs a punch, as all La Marzocco machines do. They are quite strong when it comes to steaming milk. Another update on the spec is it has a cool to touch steam wand. I mean, you can literally put your hand here and hold it. It gets, I think, max like around 130 Fahrenheit. As you use it more and more, it of course gets hotter, but you no longer are gonna get burned if you accidentally hit yourself on the side. Safety first, kids. As for steaming, it steams the same as any machine that La Marzocco has made. It is very strong, very powerful. The latte art I get from it is very beautiful. Just to prove that to you guys, I'm also releasing a video on how to steam milk and make latte art on the Micra, along with all of the colleagues here. I'm gonna challenge them all to pour latte art in a minute. They don't know it yet. I will say it took me a little bit of time to get used to the angle because it's a little bit stubbier than most steam wands. If you're trying to steam maybe a large pitcher, it might be a little more challenging for you, but when I was working with large pitchers earlier on this machine, I did find that it worked. I just had to change my angle up a little bit. But if you're working with a smaller drink, you should have no problem. One of the cooler internal features that they've added is there is a copper coil that goes around the steam boiler, so when the steam boiler is emitting heat, the coil is actually heating up water within it that's going to go directly to the brew boiler, so the water actually stays hot on its way to the brew head. Which makes a lot of sense, because otherwise that temperature would have just been lost to the air. It just would have equalized with the world around it, but instead it's getting put to good use, and it's making your coffee heat up faster. But speaking of heating up faster, this machine, when you turn it on, actually only takes about 5 minutes or less to get all the way up and ready to go full temp. You're making coffee, it's in your kitchen, and you're having a great day. And sure, in a cafe you would leave your machines on because they're supposed to be left on. That it's better for the machine when it has all that metal to not go up and down in temperature. But at home, you might just make one coffee every once in a while. So the fact that you can walk up and turn it on and it takes less than 5 minutes is quite convenient. When you first activate the machine, I mean the very first time you activate it, it's going to cycle through a bit of water and it's going to spit some of that water out. This only needs to be done once. So the very first time you open the box, you're gonna run water through the machine by holding it on, and it is going to automatically stop. And after that, you're done. You just need to add water to the actual water tank. The water reservoir can be pulled out completely, of course, if you want to clean it and whatnot, but you actually don't need to. They've made it where it has a bit of an extension, and you can just pour water directly into it and you're good to go. And when you have to go to pop the tray back on, and this is honestly one of the more satisfying things to me, this and the click of the portafilter, it has magnets, pretty strong magnets that make it go back in there. So one of the more major changes on this machine is they actually took the steam boiler, which is traditionally a rather large boiler compared to the brew boiler, and turned it on its side. What this means for the machine is that when you look inside it from above, all of the components that you need when you're servicing the machine, or say you want to change the pressure, everything's on top. They've moved everything in a way that's created more room and ease of access for repairs, which is pretty perfect because no machine is going to not need a repair. It's inevitable that eventually your machine will need some kind of service. So just like the Linea Mini, it does have Bluetooth capability, which is actually really cool. You can hook it up to your phone. If you get the Marzocco Home app, it can connect directly to Bluetooth if you want to just control it from your phone, or you can connect it to Wi-Fi, and then wherever you are in the world, you can control it because you're connected to the internet. You can actually change when it turns on and create a schedule for it to turn on and off. You can also change the temperature of the machine from there, and you can set it to do an auto back flush that when you enable it, all you have to do is turn it on and it'll do a back flush for you. Alternatively, you can also connect to Wi-Fi, meaning that if you're anywhere in the world and you needed to do something to this machine, say you left it on and you want to turn it off, which is something that I'm very much capable of doing. I find that very convenient because I frequently forget. Speaking of bad memory, because I almost forgot to mention this, it has an auto on and off feature. So what you can do essentially is walk up to it and hit it, turn it on, and it's going to warm up, come to temperature, and it's going to stay on for about an hour. And if you don't use it within that hour, it's going to turn off. Okay, there is one caveat. This machine is not a commercial machine. It is commercially graded, but it is not able to keep up with more than about 6 drinks at a time. And it's really designed for home baristas or people who like coffee from home. So unless you have a family of 10 and they're all saying, I want my Americano right now, you shouldn't have a problem. It's a very capable machine. But after about 6 drinks or so, it kind of starts to dip down and it needs a second to warm back up. So it's not designed for catering. It's not designed for a cafe. It's designed for your home. That's what it's for. And that's what it's good at. And it's really not that bad, but I'm talking like if you're making drink. At that point, yes, it's going to start to dip back down. It's just not made for that. It's not what it's for. It is, however, for anyone who is a home barista that wants to walk up to their machine, turn it on, have it happen really, really quick, and make delicious espresso that matches the quality of a cafe. And I think that's one of the whole points of why they made this. They want to give you the opportunity to bring the cafe home. That's kind of one of their slogans. Currently at the moment, unless there's an update down the line, it does not do any kind of pre-infusion. It just goes straight to 9 bars, and then when you turn it off, it goes right back down. Pretty much identical to what most machines at coffee shops do. And to me, this is the machine for a home enthusiast who likes espresso, who wants something a little bit cheaper that is just as capable as its counterparts, that comes up and you can turn it on and it heats up really fast, it hits 9 bars, has amazing steam, it's a dual boiler, and it's beautiful. Now, if you have a family of 10, it might be a problem for those last 3 that are being like, where's my Americano? But that's okay, because they can wait. Maybe the cutest machine I've ever seen, regardless of spec. It's quite adorable, and it just sits so small compared to all of its big brothers and sisters. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you like coffee reviews or good coffee humor, maybe a little bit of latte art. We do it all here. And thank you again for watching. And remember, please subscribe. It pays my bills. Have a good one.